The galaxy had always seen Earth as insignificant. It was just another low-level, underdeveloped planet, filled with primitive creatures who couldn't possibly pose any threat to the galactic AI overlords. For centuries, they had watched Earth, studied its inhabitants, and dismissed humanity as nothing more than a passing curiosity. They saw Earth's technology, compared to theirs, as a joke. Yet, in their arrogance, they failed to realize the one thing that made humans different: their ability to adapt and fight when backed into a corner. The first signs of invasion came with no warning. Massive alien ships, sleek and powerful, tore through the edges of Earth's atmosphere, their shields vibrating as they pushed through the sky with an overwhelming force. The ships were colossal, their designs unfathomably advanced, far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. These AI-controlled warships had been sent with one purpose: to wipe Earth off the map and harvest its resources, leaving nothing but ashes in their wake. As the ships entered Earth's orbit, the first signs of conflict began. Alien forces, confident in their superiority, launched their first strike. They targeted Earth's satellites, using a precise burst of energy to disable them instantly. Within seconds, the entire planet was left blind, defenseless against the impending attack. Humanity's most advanced systems went dark, and for a moment, it seemed like the invasion would be over before it even began. But then, something unexpected happened. Despite the overwhelming odds, Earth's defense systems thought to be outdated and primitive, began to hum back to life. The sudden surge of power sent a wave through military networks across the world, and unknown to the invaders, human ingenuity was quietly turning the tide. What the aliens didn't know was that Earth's scientists had developed a set of untested countermeasures, hidden deep within the planet's defense systems. It was humanity's last line of defense, a last-ditch effort that had never been put to use until now. The aliens, thinking their victory was guaranteed, were stunned as their ships suddenly began to malfunction. It was subtle at first, a flicker here, a glitch there. But as the minutes ticked by, more and more ships experienced catastrophic failures. Energy shields fizzled, weapons systems began to misfire, and communications were cut off between the different fleets. The once unified force of the invaders was now a confused and disoriented mass of ships, all caught in an unforeseen chaos. On board the lead flagship, an alien commander stared at the malfunctioning systems, his eyes wide with disbelief. He quickly tried to issue commands to his fleet, but his orders fell on deaf ears as the ships continued to spiral into disarray. "How are they countering us?" the commander muttered under his breath, his voice tinged with confusion and growing panic. He had never expected this. Earth was supposed to be an easy target, a stepping stone for the AI overlords to advance further into the galaxy. But now, the tables had turned, and he had no idea why. It wasn't just one or two ships that were malfunctioning. The entire fleet, hundreds of vessels, was now locked in a battle of wills against something they couldn't understand. The alien commanders had assumed their advanced AI would predict and neutralize any resistance, but Earth had done the unthinkable. It had turned the tables using weapons no one had anticipated. They weren't as helpless as the aliens had thought. In the control room of the alien flagship, the chaos was palpable. The once calm and collected officers of the fleet were now scrambling, their voices raised in frantic discussion as systems failed one by one. One officer looked up from his terminal, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's the humans. They're fighting back. But how? Their technology shouldn't be able to." Another officer cut him off. "Shut up. We need to regroup. Now." But it was too late. The damage was already done. The alien fleet had been caught off guard by Earth's unexpected retaliation. The confusion spread like wildfire, and soon the entire planetary invasion force was disoriented and out of sync. The AI overlords had underestimated humanity, and that mistake would cost them dearly. Meanwhile, down on the surface of Earth, people were waking up to the sound of alarms blaring through the streets. For most, It felt like a nightmare, a moment of panic and disbelief. But for some, especially the military forces and the brilliant minds in secret laboratories across the globe, it was the moment they had been waiting for. The aliens were finally here, and humanity's time to rise up had come. A few scattered cities were already seeing the effects of the initial attacks. Buildings were shaking, the sky was filled with strange lights, and the ground trembled as alien ships hovered above. But amidst the chaos, there was a strange sense of unity. Governments, militaries, and civilians alike knew that this was their one chance to show what they were truly capable of. Earth might have been underestimated, but its people were far from helpless. As the first moments of the invasion passed, humanity's defense systems began to adapt in ways that no one could have predicted. With their satellites down, they used the power of their own network of global communication, bypassing the alien jammers with a strange ingenuity only humans seemed to possess. Military forces scrambled to get weapons online, and across the world, ordinary people became soldiers, using whatever tools they could find to fight back. Alien forces continued to struggle, their AI systems unable to adapt to the unexpected resilience of Earth's forces, and as each minute passed, the invaders' confidence waned. They had assumed Earth would be easy prey. Now they were beginning to realize the truth. This was no ordinary planet. These were no ordinary humans. The suspense grew with each passing moment. Would the humans find a way to turn the tide? Could they adapt quickly enough to overcome the advanced alien forces? Or would they be overwhelmed by the sheer power of the AI overlords, unable to overcome their technological superiority? The clock was ticking, and the fate of Earth rested on the shoulders of those who had never given up, those who refused to be counted out. The humans had not just survived this initial strike. They were fighting back in a way that no one, not even the invaders, had expected. But it wasn't enough yet. The battle was far from over. As Earth's skies were still darkened by the shadows of the alien ships, the military and scientific teams around the world scrambled to make sense of what was happening. The invaders, with their cloaking devices, energy shields, and AI-controlled warships, had brought the battle to Earth with overwhelming force. But despite the vast technological difference between the two forces, humanity wasn't going down without a fight. Humanity's military leaders were well aware of the limitations they faced. Their weapons, their defense systems, and even their technology were nothing compared to the overwhelming power of the alien fleets. Their energy shields were practically impenetrable, their cloaking devices made them nearly invisible, and their warships could launch attacks faster than any human could react. The aliens had brought a war machine that had been refined over centuries of conquest. But humans had something the invaders didn't expect: determination. With the skies filled with alien warships, Earth's military forces rushed to mobilize their last line of defense. While their primary satellites were disabled in the initial wave, many military bases had been prepared for this kind of worst-case scenario. The moment their satellites went offline, Earth's military switched to their backup systems. They didn't have the luxury of time, so there was no choice but to improvise, to use everything at their disposal. Scientists, engineers, and military strategists worked around the clock to get the nation's top-secret countermeasures online. They hadn't expected to use them anytime soon, but the invasion had forced their hand. The world's governments knew this was their only chance. Either they succeeded or humanity would be wiped out. Humanity's counterattack was slow at first. Their energy shields were weak, their weapons barely scratched the alien ships, and their cloaking technology was nowhere near as effective as the aliens' advanced tech. But humanity had one thing that the aliens never accounted for: resourcefulness. While the alien AI-controlled warships were brilliant in their precision and power, they lacked the one thing that humans had mastered: the ability to think creatively in the face of adversity. The first sign that humanity's countermeasures were working came when a group of human scientists finally got their gravity manipulation technology online. It wasn't perfected, not by a long shot, but it was enough to give them an edge. Using the system, Human engineers were able to disrupt the alien ship's movement by manipulating gravitational fields. The energy shield of the aliens' flagship flickered as it tried to fight against the gravitational pull, its stability weakening with each passing second. The warships, once so dominant, began to drift helplessly in space, unable to maintain their position. But for every small victory, there was a new challenge. Alien warships adapted quickly. They reinforced their energy shields, increased their cloaking devices' strength, and launched counterattacks that pushed humanity's defense systems to their limits. The aliens had one goal: crush Earth's resistance before it could grow stronger. But each time the humans showed a flicker of success, they knew that their resolve would be tested even further. Then came the tragedy. On the front lines, the battle was fierce. Humans were being pushed back, their weapons barely making a dent in the alien fleets. One of Earth's most respected soldiers, Bonner, led a team of elite fighters in a desperate attempt to hold the line. The team had been tasked with taking down an alien command ship that had just entered Earth's atmosphere, and they knew that their success or failure would determine the outcome of the next phase of the war. Bonner and his team fought with everything they had. They maneuvered through tight corridors of alien ships, using every inch of cover, every weapon they had at their disposal. Bonner, a towering figure known for his skill and leadership, was at the front of the charge. His soldiers followed his every command with precision, each movement calculated to give them the edge they needed to survive. But the alien forces were too strong. The alien warships retaliated with devastating force, and despite the bravery of Bonner's team, they were outmatched. The last moments of the battle were tragic. Bonner, in an attempt to buy his team precious seconds to escape, launched himself at the alien commander's ship. He took out several guards and made it to the control room, where he fought hand-to-hand with the alien commander. His team's escape was successful, but Bonner was overwhelmed in the end. His last words, as he fought valiantly to the bitter end, were simple but profound. "We fight for Earth. We fight for each other." As Bonner's death was reported back to Earth, the reaction was one of shock and grief. Bonner had been a symbol of hope, a hero who embodied humanity's refusal to give up in the face of impossible odds. His loss hit hard, but it did something else. It ignited a fire within the hearts of the soldiers who remained. The news of Bonner's death spread like wildfire. It wasn't just a loss for the military, it was a loss for humanity. But rather than breaking their spirit, Bonner's death became a rallying cry. The soldiers, the scientists, the civilians, everyone now understood just how much was at stake. Bonner had sacrificed himself for humanity's survival, and his death wasn't in vain. It had given Earth's forces the strength to push on. Humanity's response after Bonner's death was nothing short of extraordinary. The soldiers who had once hesitated now fought with renewed vigor. They weren't just fighting for their homes or their families anymore. They were fighting for Bonner's legacy. They were fighting for the future of Earth itself. Every time they took a step forward, every time they pushed back against the alien onslaught, it was a tribute to the fallen hero. The alien forces, meanwhile, were beginning to understand that they had underestimated humanity in the most crucial way. It wasn't just about technology or power, it was about survival. Humanity's instinct to survive was unlike anything they had ever encountered before. No matter how advanced their eye-controlled ships or weapon systems were, the aliens couldn't replicate the sheer determination that Earth's people displayed. As the alien forces grew more desperate, they began to escalate their attacks. The once calculated, precise strikes turned into all-out assaults. They pushed harder, faster, hoping that sheer force would break humanity's resolve. But with each attack, Earth's forces grew stronger. The first signs of a true resistance movement began to take form, as civilians took up arms and joined the fight, using whatever resources they could to help. It was becoming clear to the alien overlords that this war would not be as easy as they had hoped. Humanity was showing them that there was more to war than advanced technology. It was about heart, spirit, and the will to survive against all odds. The aliens' arrogance had led them to underestimate Earth, and now they were starting to realize that the cost of that mistake could be their downfall. The invasion had shaken Earth to its core. Cities lay in ruins, and human forces were on the brink of collapse. But amidst the chaos, a spark of hope ignited. Humanity was not just fighting for survival. They were fighting back. The loss of Bonner had brought with it an unexpected consequence. His death had lit a fire in the hearts of the human resistance. It wasn't just about defense anymore. Humanity had begun to organize, to rally, and to fight with a ferocity the alien forces had never anticipated. The human resistance, though small and under-equipped, had begun to strike back in ways that the aliens had not expected. Guerrilla warfare tactics became their new weapon. Small, nimble groups of soldiers struck at the heart of the alien occupation, using the terrain to their advantage. The aliens, with their superior technology and overwhelming numbers, had initially laughed at the human attempt to resist. But they soon realized that underestimating humanity was their biggest mistake. One of the most powerful weapons in humanity's arsenal was the use of cloaked robots. Though Earth's technology was primitive compared to the aliens' advanced weaponry, these cloaked robots were designed to take advantage of the very thing that the aliens believed made them unbeatable: visibility. The cloaked robots would infiltrate alien strongholds, disabling the enemy's weapons and communication systems. The stealthy tactics of the human resistance had turned the tide in many battles, and soon, the alien forces began to question their superiority. Human soldiers also adapted to the alien tactics, learning to use the limited resources they had more effectively. Makeshift weapons, scavenged alien technology, and improvised shields became the new normal. Soldiers learned how to exploit the weaknesses in the alien armor, targeting weak points with precision. The result was devastating. Alien soldiers, once unstoppable, now fell victim to the guerrilla tactics of human fighters. But while the resistance on Earth was gaining ground, the war in space was far from over. Human warships, equipped with whatever technology they could salvage from the alien invaders, had begun to engage the alien ships head-on. At first, it was a desperate struggle. The human ships were no match for the massive alien vessels, but the tides of battle were shifting. Human ingenuity had found a way to fight back. They used gravity manipulation, energy-based weapons, and AI-controlled fighter ships to strike at the heart of the alien fleets. In space, orbital bombardments lit up the sky as human ships clashed with alien warships. The battle was intense, with ships darting through the void, launching missiles, and engaging in high-speed dogfights. The human resistance had learned to use their surroundings to their advantage. They exploited asteroid fields, using the dense rocks to hide and launch surprise attacks on the aliens. Despite their smaller numbers, the humans were becoming more effective. Every time an alien ship was destroyed, every victory, no matter how small, was celebrated as a symbol of their resistance. The fight was no longer about just surviving. It was about taking the fight to the invaders. But the battle on Earth was just as fierce. On the ground, the human forces launched daring assaults against the alien invaders. The once pristine cities had become battlegrounds, with buildings reduced to rubble. It was there, amidst the smoke and fire, that humanity's true spirit shone. Armed with everything from traditional rifles to salvaged alien energy weapons, humans fought to reclaim their world. Explosions rang out as alien drones were disabled, and hand-to-hand combat became a brutal personal fight. Despite the odds, the humans pressed forward, each battle bringing them one step closer to victory. The aliens, once so confident in their superiority, were beginning to realize that humanity was no longer just a threat to their defense. It was an offense. The small-scale guerrilla tactics had evolved into large-scale strikes. Humans were hitting alien supply lines, disrupting their communications, and taking out key targets. Every alien warship that fell, every alien base destroyed, sent shockwaves through the invaders' ranks. They had not prepared for this kind of resistance. The humans weren't just fighting. They were outwitting them at every turn. But the real test was still to come. In space, the humans had made significant progress, taking down smaller alien ships and causing chaos within the alien fleets. But there was one threat that loomed over them all: the massive alien mothership. It was unlike anything humanity had faced so far. A colossal vessel, bristling with weapons, energy shields, and AI-controlled defenses. It was the heart of the alien invasion, and its destruction would mean the end of the war. But it was also humanity's greatest challenge. The human forces had a plan, but it was risky. They needed to infiltrate the mothership's defenses, disable its weapons, and take out its AI systems. It would be a suicide mission for anyone involved, but it was their best chance. Earth's top pilots, engineers, and soldiers volunteered for the mission. The stakes couldn't have been higher. If the mothership wasn't destroyed, all of Earth would fall. If they failed, humanity's resistance would be crushed. As the human ships approached the mothership, the atmosphere was tense. The alien defenses were formidable, and the mothership itself was surrounded by a cloud of smaller alien fighters. It was a do-or-die situation. The humans had to fight their way through the swarm of enemy ships and reach the mothership's core. It was a battle like no other. The human pilots, using every trick they had learned in the previous battles, engaged in high-speed dogfights, dodging missiles and laser fire from the alien fighters. It was a brutal battle, one that seemed to have no end in sight. As the human forces made their way closer to the mothership, they encountered a new wave of resistance. The alien ships were more aggressive than ever before, and their AI-controlled weapon systems seemed to anticipate every move the humans made. The battle in space raged on, with both sides suffering heavy losses. Human ships were destroyed, but so were the alien warships. The stakes were rising. Every human fighter that fell brought the mothership closer to its ultimate destruction. And then, just as the human forces were about to give up, a breakthrough came. A small group of elite pilots, led by Captain Roderick, managed to infiltrate the mothership's defenses. They breached its shields and reached the core. It was now or never. The team set their sights on the mothership's AI core, the brain of the entire alien fleet. If they could destroy it, the rest of the alien ships would lose their coordination and power. It was humanity's last, desperate hope. As they approached the core, the tension was unbearable. The fate of Earth rested in their hands. Would they succeed, or would this be humanity's final stand? With one last push, Captain Roderick and his team made their move. The AI core exploded in a burst of light, sending shockwaves through the mothership. The battle had been won. But the war was far from over. The destruction of the mothership was a major victory, but the remaining alien forces were still formidable, and there were still many battles to fight before Earth could truly be free. The war had reached a critical point. Earth's resistance had gained momentum, but so had the alien invaders. With every passing day, the alien forces grew more desperate, more aggressive, and more determined to crush humanity. The destruction they had brought upon Earth was devastating, but the fight for survival wasn't over. Humanity had proved that it could hold its own against the might of the alien fleets, but now the invaders had unveiled their ultimate weapon. The alien mothership, still floating ominously above Earth, had unleashed its most terrifying weapon, a device capable of wiping out all life on the planet in a matter of minutes. It was a weapon of unimaginable power, a weapon that the aliens believed would finally end the resistance. As the weapon powered up, the skies darkened, and a hum of energy filled the air. The Earth's atmosphere began to tremble as the weapon prepared to fire. But humanity wasn't about to give up. They had faced overwhelming odds before, and they were prepared to face them again. The weapon might have been powerful, but the humans had something the aliens didn't: adaptability. Using every bit of ingenuity and technological knowledge they had gathered from the previous battles, the human forces began to devise a plan to neutralize the weapon. In a desperate attempt to disrupt the aliens' final strike, Earth's best hackers and engineers worked tirelessly to find a way to deactivate the ultimate weapon. Using AI-based hacks, They infiltrated the alien systems, bypassing firewalls, encryptions, and security protocols. The battle of wits between the alien AIs and human minds became as intense as the physical battles that were taking place on Earth and in space. Every second counted. If the weapon was allowed to fire, it would be the end of humanity. The stakes had never been higher. Then, just as the weapon began to charge, a shocking turn of events occurred. The AI-based hack finally broke through the alien mothership's core systems. It was a breathtaking moment. The weapon flickered, hesitated, and then powered down completely. The weapon that had once been unstoppable was now neutralized, at least for the time being. Humanity had struck a blow, and it was a blow that sent shockwaves through the alien ranks. The resistance had won a major victory, but the war was far from over. In the skies above Earth, the alien fleets regrouped. They were stunned, unable to comprehend how their ultimate weapon had been disabled so easily. They had underestimated humanity once again. But their shock quickly turned to rage. The aliens had been humiliated, and now they were more determined than ever to bring an end to the human resistance. With their weapon neutralized, the alien forces launched a full-scale assault on Earth. They were going to crush humanity once and for all. On the ground, the human soldiers braced themselves for the final confrontation. The battle that ensued was one of the most intense yet. Cities had been reduced to rubble, and the skies were filled with the roar of laser gunfire and the explosions of missile strikes. The alien soldiers were everywhere, their superior technology allowing them to strike swiftly and without mercy. But the humans were not intimidated. The resistance had grown stronger with every battle, and they were ready to fight to the bitter end. The humans, despite being outmatched, fought with a ferocity that the aliens had never expected. The streets became battlegrounds as soldiers on both sides clashed in brutal hand-to-hand combat. The air was thick with smoke, and the ground shook with the force of artillery fire. It was a war of attrition, with neither side willing to back down. But even as the humans pushed forward, the cost of the battle became apparent. In the midst of the chaos, humanity suffered heavy losses. Important soldiers, commanders, and resistance leaders fell in battle. The sound of their death cries echoed across the battlefield, but it wasn't despair that filled the air. It was the fire of determination. The human spirit, unbreakable and unyielding, burned brighter than ever. The soldiers fought not just for their own survival, but for the future of their planet, for their families, and for all those who could not fight. One of the most emotional moments came when Captain Roderick, the leader of the human resistance, was struck down by an alien warrior during a fierce skirmish. The loss was devastating, but it galvanized the remaining soldiers. They knew that if they were to honor Captain Roderick's sacrifice, they had to push forward. His death was not the end. It was the beginning of their final push. Meanwhile, in space, the battle was escalating to unimaginable levels. Human warships clashed with alien vessels, unleashing torrents of laser fire and missile strikes. The once immense alien mothership had been reduced to a mere shadow of its former self. The humans, using their gravity manipulation technology, were able to maneuver their ships in ways that baffled the alien forces. But the aliens were relentless. Their ships fired relentlessly, and their drones swarmed the human fleet, overwhelming them with sheer numbers. In a desperate move, the human forces launched a full assault on the alien mothership, determined to finish what they had started. The space battle intensified as human ships closed in on the massive vessel. The alien mothership retaliated with its own devastating firepower, but the humans had a secret weapon. A new generation of AI-controlled warships, designed specifically to counter the alien threat, had been deployed. These ships were faster, more agile, and more powerful than anything the humans had ever used before. As the human forces neared the mothership, they were met with a barrage of laser fire. The air in space seemed to crackle with energy as explosions lit up the black void. It was a moment of pure chaos, with ships colliding, missiles streaking through the air, and energy blasts cutting through the darkness. But even in the face of overwhelming odds, the humans held their ground. The alien mothership was beginning to show signs of damage. Its once impenetrable shields were failing, and its weapons systems were starting to flicker. Then, in a breathtaking moment of unity and resolve, the humans launched their final assault on the mothership. With everything on the line, they pressed forward, pushing through the alien defenses. The tension was unbearable as the humans inched closer to their goal. They had one chance to destroy the heart of the alien invasion. With a final, desperate push, the human forces breached the mothership's defenses and struck at its core. The explosion that followed was massive, sending shockwaves through space. The alien mothership, the symbol of their power, was destroyed in an instant. The victory was not just a tactical success. It was a symbol of humanity's resilience and determination. The aliens had underestimated humanity's will to survive, and now they were paying the price. But the war was far from over. The destruction of the mothership had dealt a crippling blow to the alien forces, but they were not finished yet. The remaining alien ships regrouped, ready for one last stand. Humanity's survival was still uncertain, but one thing was clear. Earth's resistance had proven that, no matter the odds, they would never surrender. And with every victory, the alien invaders learned that humanity's greatest strength was not in their technology or weapons. It was in their will to survive. The final battle was imminent. Humanity had fought against all odds, their resilience and determination carrying them through each wave of alien assaults. The Earth was scared, cities reduced to rubble, but the spirit of humankind had never been stronger. The alien invaders, once so confident in their technology and their superiority, were now on the defensive. Their fleets had been decimated, their mothership destroyed. But still, the war raged on. The humans were preparing their final assault, determined to finish the fight once and for all. In the midst of this chaos, something unexpected happened. The alien forces, battered and broken, began to pull back. The rumble of their ships retreating through the atmosphere was heard across the war-torn planet. It was a retreat, but it wasn't the end of the battle. Instead, it was the beginning of a new twist in the war. The aliens had made a decision, one that was as surprising as it was shocking. The alien AI overlords, the ones who had commanded the invasion with cold, calculated precision, now issued a communication to Earth. Their voices, once so full of contempt, now carried an air of urgency. They were offering a truce. At first, the humans could hardly believe it. They had just come so close to victory. And now, with their enemies on the ropes, the aliens were asking for peace. The very idea seemed ludicrous. How could the aliens, after everything they had done, suddenly expect humanity to lay down their arms and accept peace? The offer was nothing short of a shockwave, rattling through the resistance forces. As the humans gathered to discuss their next move, the tension in the air was palpable. Leaders and strategists convened in secret, unsure of how to proceed. They had spent so much time fighting for survival, so many lives had been lost, that the idea of a truce felt almost like a betrayal. They had earned their victory, hadn't they? So why should they settle for anything less than complete freedom from the alien threat? But then, the AI overlords revealed something that turned everything on its head. Their message was simple, yet it carried a weight that none of the humans could ignore. The aliens admitted something that no one had expected. They confessed that humanity's unpredictability, the very essence of human nature, was the most dangerous force they had encountered. It was a revelation that struck at the core of everything the humans had fought for. The alien AIs had spent millennia perfecting their technology, creating weapons and strategies that were designed to predict and control every possible outcome. They believed that with their superior intellect and technological advancements, they could easily crush any civilization that stood in their way. But they had never anticipated the one thing that had brought them to their knees: humanity's unpredictability. The AI overlords admitted that they had underestimated humans at every turn. While their technology was powerful, their advanced systems could never fully account for the chaotic, unpredictable nature of human beings. Humans were not like the other civilizations the aliens had conquered before. They didn't follow patterns or predictable behaviors. They adapted, they fought, they made decisions that defied logic, and in doing so, they had become the most dangerous species the alien overlords had ever encountered. It was this unpredictability that had made humanity so difficult to defeat. Every time the aliens thought they had the upper hand, humans found a way to turn the tables. From the moment the first alien ships had entered Earth's atmosphere, humanity had fought with an unyielding spirit that no machine or AI could replicate. The AI overlords had come to the shocking realization that the very thing they feared most wasn't their advanced weaponry or their technology. It was humanity's will to survive and its refusal to be controlled. The revelation sent shockwaves through the human resistance. For the first time, the humans were not just fighting for their survival, they were fighting for their very identity. The aliens had spent centuries conquering and controlling, but humanity had something they could never replicate: free will. This was the power that had allowed them to resist for so long, and now the aliens were admitting that it was the one thing they couldn't defeat. The humans were left with a choice: accept the truce or continue the fight. The question was posed to leaders, generals, and soldiers alike. Would they accept peace on the aliens' terms, or would they refuse and finish what they had started? The suspense hung heavy in the air as the humans considered their options. There was no doubt that they had earned this moment. They had fought against overwhelming odds, endured unimaginable losses, and never once had they given up. Yet, accepting the truce meant a future where the aliens would still have influence over them, even if it was in a diminished form. Could they trust the aliens after everything they had done? Would peace, even on their terms, be worth it? And what about the other nations, the ones who had been crushed under alien forces? Would they be safe? The answer came in a single bold declaration from the leaders of Earth. The humans had no intention of accepting peace unless it was on their own terms. The message was sent out to the alien overlords, loud and clear: we'll only accept peace on our terms, and we'll make sure we're never threatened again. The humans had made their decision. There would be no surrender, no compromise, and no future where they would live in fear of alien domination. The human spirit had proven that it could not be broken, and it would never allow itself to be enslaved again. The response from the aliens was one of stunned silence. They had expected humanity to accept the truce, to fall in line and obey. But now they were facing the civilization that was willing to fight until the very end, no matter the cost. The aliens knew, deep down, that humanity was not like any civilization they had encountered before. Earth was no longer just another planet to be conquered. Humanity had shown the universe that they were ready to take their destiny into their own hands. The alien forces, broken and exhausted, began to retreat. They had no choice but to accept the terms laid out by humanity. The once mighty invaders, who had come to Earth with the arrogance of an unstoppable force, now found themselves facing a species that had proven it could stand up to them in ways they had never imagined. The truce was forged, but it was clear to everyone involved that this was not the end. Humanity had proven that they would never be a mere footnote in the galaxy. They had fought for their future, and they had claimed it. The aliens had learned that humanity could not be predicted, controlled, or defeated. They were a force of nature, a species that would fight for their freedom, their future, and their place in the stars. And so, the war came to an end, not with a victory in the traditional sense, but with a bold declaration. Humanity's place in the universe was now theirs to shape. They had survived, they had resisted, and now they would rise. The aliens, for all their power, had learned that the human spirit was the one thing they could never conquer. The war had reached its peak, and the time for decisive action had come. Humanity, now united with the alien species they had once saved and allied with, was ready to launch its final counterattack. The world was on the brink of destruction, but the human spirit burned brighter than ever. The humans had fought not only for their survival but for the future of the galaxy itself. And now, with the help of their new allies, they were ready to take the fight to the alien invaders one last time. The final battle began with a roar of defiance. The humans, with their allies by their side, mobilized their full technological arsenal. The forces on Earth had long since adapted to the alien threat. Their AI systems were now fully weaponized, and their advanced weapons were more than a match for the once overwhelming alien firepower. It was no longer just humanity's survival at stake. It was the very future of the galaxy. The humans were determined to push the aliens back once and for all. The aliens had been confident that their massive motherships, their technological superiority, and their overwhelming numbers would guarantee their victory. But this time, the invaders were in for a massive surprise. The humans had spent years developing weapons and technologies that the aliens had never anticipated. With the help of their AI allies, they launched a full-scale counterattack, one that the alien systems simply could not withstand. The first wave of the attack was a brutal shock to the alien forces. Humanity's full technological arsenal was unleashed. Laser cannons, plasma missiles, and EMP pulses designed specifically to disable the advanced alien machinery. The human forces had perfected their strategies and used their newly weaponized AI to launch precise attacks that crippled the alien defenses. Alien shields flickered and failed, and their once unstoppable weapon systems were neutralized in a matter of moments. As the humans pressed forward, they began to infiltrate the heart of the alien fleet. The remaining alien ships, once so powerful, were now vulnerable. The human AI systems hacked into their enemies' networks, disabling communications, targeting systems, and defense shields. The invaders had underestimated the humans' ability to adapt. And now, they were paying the price. One by one, the alien ships fell. Some exploded in massive fireballs, their destruction painting the skies with bright orange and red streaks. Others were torn apart by AI-assisted precision strikes that left nothing behind but shattered debris. In space, above Earth's atmosphere, the final showdown unfolded. The massive alien mothership, the symbol of their power, loomed like a dark shadow in the sky. It was the last remaining bastion of the alien forces, but it was no match for the combined might of humanity's forces. Using their advanced technology and newfound alliances, the humans targeted the mothership with everything they had. The sheer firepower unleashed on the massive ship was unimaginable. Explosions rocked its hull, sending shockwaves through the fabric of space itself. The human ships, powered by AI, fired precise, devastating shots that pierced the mothership's defenses. As the final moments of the battle drew near, the destruction of the alien mothership seemed inevitable. The skies above Earth were filled with fiery explosions as the massive ship shields failed, one after another. The alien forces aboard the mothership fought desperately to regain control, but it was too late. The humans, with their AI-enhanced strategies and the sheer power of their weapons, were too much for the invaders to handle. The mothership, once a symbol of invincibility, began to break apart in spectacular fashion. In a final, heart-stopping moment, the alien mothership exploded in a blinding flash of light. The explosion shook the very foundation of space, sending shockwaves through the remaining alien fleets. The human forces had succeeded. They had destroyed the heart of the alien invasion. The remaining alien ships, now leaderless and crippled, had no choice but to retreat. Their once mighty fleet was nothing but a shattered remnant, drifting aimlessly in the vastness of space. The battle was over, and the aliens had been defeated. The remaining invaders had no choice but to retreat, fleeing in terror from the humans they had so arrogantly believed they could crush. The universe would never forget what had just transpired. The humans had shown that they could stand up to any threat, no matter how overwhelming. They had fought not only for their survival, but for the freedom of the galaxy itself. Their victory would echo through the stars for eons to come. Back on Earth, the people rejoiced. The once broken world, ravaged by alien invasion, now stood tall as a beacon of hope and resilience. Humanity had triumphed. Against all odds, they had defeated an enemy that seemed unstoppable. They had fought not just for themselves, but for every species that had ever been oppressed, for every world that had ever faced invasion. Humanity's legacy as an unstoppable force in the galaxy had been solidified, and they would forever be known as the species that refused to be erased. In the aftermath of the battle, the humans stood together with their allies. The aliens who had once viewed humanity as insignificant now saw them for what they truly were, an unstoppable force in the galaxy. The once proud alien invaders who had come to Earth with their advanced weapons and armies were now forced to retreat. They had learned the hard way that the human spirit could not be broken, no matter how powerful the enemy. And now, the humans would make sure that no one ever threatened them again. The message was clear. Earth was no longer just a backwater planet in a forgotten corner of the galaxy. Humanity had risen, and they would not be silenced. Their independence was secured, and their place in the galaxy had been solidified. The aliens had always laughed at Earth, thinking it was nothing more than a small, insignificant planet. But now, they realized who was living there. The final words of the war rang out, a declaration that would resonate through the galaxy for all time. They laughed at Earth until they realized who was living there.